God, if you had been in the huddle then, you would have heard something like, give me the ball, no, give me the ball, no, it's my turn to give the ball.
Number 34 Perry was tabbed the Jet, and he took wing for more rushing touchdowns and yardage than any man in team history. While the Jet flew past foes, John Henry Johnson, number 35, ran over them. Johnson, Perry, and McElhenney formed what became known as the $1 Million Backfield, and they cashed in on crushing blocks from Leo Nomalini, number 73. Run and gun typified this offense, but so too did lob and leap. Y.A. Tittle gave his touch passes to former college basketball star R.C. Owens a catchy nickname that assumed legendary proportions.
Tittle said that's a real alley-oop. Now why he said that, I'll never know. You know, but he said it, and from then on, that was our alley-oop play.
There's a man in the funny papers we all know. He lives way back a long time ago. He don't eat nothing but a bear cat stew.
San Francisco, they talk about the fans standing twice during a ball game. They stood for the national anthem, and they always stood for the alley-oop pass.
Again, Owens flank to the right. This has got to be the alley-oop. There's no time for anything else. Tittle throws. Owens is double team. He's going downfield. Have a goal, and he goes up. He's got
it! 1957 marked the 49ers' only opportunity to qualify for a division title. But first, they had to navigate their way past the Lions in a Western Conference playoff game. McElhenney, the man they called the King, was now running for a chance to be crowned a champion. But after building a 24-7 halftime lead, the title that seemed so secure in the 49ers' grasp was suddenly pried loose. In the wake of an eventual 31-27 defeat, the prospect of the raucous revelry reserved for winners gave way to soul-searching silence.
It had to be the most quiet damn locker room you'd ever find. You know, but what can guys say when you lose? Everybody feels lousy. Everybody loves a winner in this game, and nobody, fan, coach, players, nobody can tolerate a loser.
It was an excitable team that unfortunately was a bridesmaid but never a bride.
Although this team's story lacked a happy ending, it featured thrilling chapters and great leading characters. These men still symbolize the glamour and glory of the game, and while they produced no titles, they produced more excitement than many champions. For this reason, the 49ers of the 50s will always be a team well worth celebrating.
Sports fans, now you can hear both sides of the story. And get an inside look at two of your favorite sports in these fascinating new videos, The Secret NBA and The Hidden NFL 2. Both videos are free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated, the best way to get inside the action for over 20 million readers. Call this toll-free number now and let your two free videos take you into two different worlds. Each with their own story to tell.
That's a good one for a take.
And neither can keep a secret.
Shut up, man, shut up.
Call now so you won't miss out on all the fun of your two videos, both free from Sports Illustrated. And get 54 issues of Sports Illustrated for only $1.39 an issue. Save over 52% off the cover price. For quick and delivery, use your credit card. Get your two free videos. Plus all the excitement of sports. Use Sports Illustrated. Call now.
In 1958, the New York Giants met the Baltimore Colts in one of the most memorable championship games ever played. The contest went into sudden death overtime, something that had never happened before. Now, this epic battle, this was tailor-made for television. television, and those who watched this became pro football fans forever. Now, many call this the greatest game ever played, and while this designation, I think, is debatable, the game definitely marked a turning point in NFL history.
Most discussions about great football games begin and end with Al Amici's touchdown and the Baltimore Colts' sudden death victory in the 1958 championship. No game in NFL history is more revered than this overtime epic that began on an unusually mild late December day in New York City. The high-profile Giants featured the likes of Frank Gifford, Alex Webster, Sam Huff, and a coaching staff that included 2 talented young assistants. To many observers, they had a clear edge over Wade Eubank's very jittery Baltimore Colts.
In the locker room, everybody's nervous for the first time we've ever played in the championship game in the Yankee Stadium, and Weed's going down. Each guy, he brought each guy in. He drafted, he knew us, and he'd gone down, saying where we came from. He picked us up off the sandlines. He had a great speech. About 5 or 6 of us never heard it because we were in the head throwing up. We were nervous.
Ironically, once the game began, it was the more seasoned Giants who did some coughing up. Led by quarterback Johnny Unitas, Baltimore took advantage of numerous Giant fumbles to forge a 14-3 halftime lead. Especially when the Colts drove to the Giant goal line early in the third quarter.
At first we tried just, going over from about the 1-yard line. The ground was rather frozen down on that end of the field. And I didn't get good footing, and I tried 3 times and couldn't get in from the 1-yard line. So John, in his most inventive way, called me to throw a pass. It was going to be a pitch out. And then Jim Muchler was to release from his block and then end up in the end zone. Not having heard that play before, I completely blew it, and I thought it was a sweep. So I got tackled for about a 5-yard loss, and then the whole momentum of that game changed.
In a contest that had equal mixtures of Greek comedy and tragedy, the Giants haphazardly stumbled back. Webster's timely effort following Kyle Rote's fumble set up 1 Giant touchdown. And in the fourth quarter, the suddenly high-flying hometowners grabbed the lead on Frank Gifford's score. Giant fans dreamed of a championship. With just 2 minutes remaining, it was only a first down away. But a controversial call on Frank Gifford's attempt to gain it on 3rd and 4 began what would be a Giant nightmare.
I think they blew the call. There's a mental thing in your head when you have a 3rd down and a yard to go, or half a yard, or whatever it happened to be. You know when you've made it. I didn't even look over the yardstick.
Frank, you should have. New York punted, pinning the Colts far back. The lead seemed safe. What happened next, however, altered the course of professional football. Johnny Unitas desperately drove Baltimore downfield. Stunned Giant fans watched in horror. But NFL executives looked on in glee. For the first time, a nationally televised championship mesmerized millions of viewers. Many more tuned in just in time to witness Steve Myra's game-tying field goal and the NFL's first venture into sudden death.
It was very strange. We were all asking each other what happens next, or, the rules weren't too clear on that. So, but that's again where a guy like Unitas always stepped in there. He was the brains of the outfit, no question about it.
Baltimore lost the coin toss. But after the Giants failed to gain in their opening drive, the 3rd-year quarterback picked up where he left off in regulation. Although only a field goal was needed, the cocky Unitas left little doubt that with the title on the line, he was leaving nothing to chance.
Well, I was just thinking about a score. I was really, the field goal really never entered my mind. I never have
much strength on field goals myself. I'd rather go for a touchdown. I knew right then and there that we had the ball game on.
John was somewhat criticized for not calling a timeout there and going for the field goal. I think a lot of people have forgotten that it was third down. They thought we were going for it on fourth, but in the event that we missed it, we still had time for the field goal. But an interesting thing on that play, which was the genius of the Unitas, and a lot of people missed this. We were on the right hash mark, and everybody in the world, including the Giants, thought we were going to go for an off tackle to the left, and if we missed, we'd be right smack in front of the goalpost. And John just took that little bit of a gamble and ran to the right on that play, and everybody was stacked to the left. And he had Lenny Moore there, who was not known as a great blocker, and he threw a key block, and it was wide open. I mean, there wasn't anything to the play.
Through the years, this dramatic championship has been elevated to legendary proportions. Yet legends die hard. Despite well-documented evidence to the contrary, the grandeur of this game is something of a myth.
People have built it up to be such a great game, and it was a good game, but it was far from a great game.
It was the greatest game I ever played in, I'll put it that way.
What is a mountain man's natural environment? Let's explore. A mountain man enjoys peaceful surroundings, a place where gentle winds blow, and the beauty of nature is all about.